Hello, welcome to follow what happened in 2025 for Suunto. This is a wrap-up going through different digital features and functionalities that Suunto launched during the whole year last year. My name is Janne Kallio. I'm here to go through with you what happened during this year and what you would potentially expect a bit where we are going this year as well. When we look at our digital offering, all the things that Suunto has been working in recently, we of course need to think about not just what kind of features and functions Suunto has in our watches, but also functionalities, tools that we provide in Suunto application, which we have been able to update almost every month during the last year, where the watch softwares we have been updating in principle every quarter. Additionally for these, we are publishing regularly, almost every week, a new partner companies that are connecting with Suunto. New digital application for different purposes, so it might be coaching, using coaching tools, or you might be using some outdoor community websites to find your next route to where to go. Additionally, when we look at what has been happening recently, there has been quite a lot of things what we have been working on SuuntoPlus side, so SuuntoPlus Watchfaces, SuuntoPlus Sport apps that we have been launching, as well as a new connected devices that can be nowadays used with Suunto, mainly by using a dedicated apps, for example, for core body temperature sensor or using active look smart glasses as an example. So all of these sounds many times a bit hectic, so the thinking was that hey, let's wrap up 2025 to see what are all the new things that came up, and you might of course be able to use those already nowadays, or it might be that you are now noticing that wait a second, I actually didn't know that this kind of feature is available nowadays in Suunto. 25 was quite busy from the product front, so we published in early spring Suunto Run, then we came up with the Race to Vertical tool later in summer, and then lately we published new dive instruments. So of course all of these new products are great addition on our portfolio, but of course all the existing products that we have had, which you might be using, also have been enriched with these new digital features and tools what we are now going through. Some of the older watches we are not anymore updating, but still using those watches with Suunto application, you are able to use the latest features there, as well as some of those products that are compatible with SuuntoPlus have been able to use those new apps that we have been publishing, and of course all the partner companies are connected, which are coming to our system. Of course, also are available for the older products. So now let's start from the one of the key areas for Suunto, which is a training and physiology. So I have grouped the new features that we have been building in key domains for us, and one of the first ones here is the training and physiology. So the training and physiology for Suunto means ways to manage and follow training load, training intensity, training impact. So understand how much you are training in order to get faster and stronger, and in parallel at the same time follow what is my recovery, what can I do for enhancing recovery, and then for this balance, of course, you have a day of life, so you need to understand a bit that how hectic the day has been, so how many steps, for example, have been taken. This trinity, this combination is then circled around planning, so in order for you to properly train, it would be good to understand what should I do tomorrow or what should I do next week. And then the planning doesn't really help if you are not trying to follow, am I actually getting better, so what kind of progress I can see. And then obviously this cycle is only disrupted when you have a race, so when you're going to do the marathon or triathlon race or whatever is your goal, you basically taper for that purpose. So this is like a model that Suunto is trying to follow, and when you see a new features, functionalities, they're usually fitted onto this model. And we always look at how can we better understand from training intensity, or would there be a new way of measuring the recovery, as an example. Now on this area, one of the key building blocks that Suunto has been building recently has been the Suunto ZoneSense, which we launched already 2024. So this is truly a unique measurement to understand your training intensity without really need to go to laboratory or need to use lactate measurement or so. So we are using heart rate variability during training sessions when using heart rate belt, evaluate the differences and changes with so-called DDFA, deep-trend fluctuation analysis, to understand what happens in the heart and basically looking at how this correlates to these aerobic, anaerobic levels. This was basically created this kind of calculation or analysis, a university team in the same time being published as we published the first feature for ZoneSense. Now, during 2025, we introduced a possibility to actually follow the ZoneSense target intensity. So basically, when you are starting to work out, you have had long time a possibility to measure or select target as a pace, power or heart rate zone, but now you can also select ZoneSense. This has of course been possible to follow your ZoneSense value during the workout before, but now the target setting is new. And of course you can also select the ZoneSense fields to your custom modes, or you can use SuuntoPlus app, which has a ZoneSense data, so you can look at that in live scenario in sports. And then when you do after analysis, here is an example where I, by the way, use the search functionality, which we can use for the text descriptions workout. So I'm trying to find a interval workout with 8 times 5 minute session. So this mobile application illustrates now a after analysis data, so you can see the ZoneSense DDFA graph as part of the session. So when it goes to red, it means that okay, I have been over anaerobic threshold in that those intervals. So the level of intensity seems to be pretty much in okay level. So this is just a good example, of course, things what we have had in past. But the target setting, the watch behavior on which ZoneSense was now updated at end of 25. One of the biggest things on the whole training model for Suunto definitely was a AI coach. So you might have already tried this. So in practice, what it means is that you can now in mobile app find different training programs for different purposes. So marathon, half marathon, triathlon, get fit, keep fit, whatever is the need. These training programs just provide a context. What is the purpose of the training the person is currently doing? And then what happens after selecting a proper program for you, you can basically answer a set of questions that define what the plan actually could be just for you. So basically, how much you have been training, how much you're willing to train, what would be the recovery days, what would be long days, what sports would be additional want to do. Do you want to do strength training? If the plan is basically defined for racing, what is the type of the race that you are going to do? So is it a hilly course or is it a warm, cool environment? All of these will then impact what kind of plan you actually will get. So what we will do by gathering this data, we get those answers, the training program content, and the Suunto training model with all our evaluation and calculations are inputted on the AI, which provides then a training plan that starts from weekly purposes. So in practice, the most essential thing is when you are training is to understand what to do in each week, what's the purpose of the week. So you can now, for the planned workouts, the training plan what has been created provides the purpose for the week, training load for the week, training duration for the week, and if you are doing running specific, it will give running distances. All the training impacts, etc., are illustrated there. Once you are doing the training based on this plan, you will see also compliance, so how well you are following the planned workout. So are you doing more training load or higher volume, and then we calculate like a compliance percentage to give you insight how well you are aligned with that plan. And then each workout, of course, each week's workout is illustrated with the key information, and then all this data is also flowing then into the watches. So all the products that are SuuntoPlus compatible will get the SuuntoPlus guide. So in practice, when you are starting a run, the watch will prompt, okay, I would need to do a tempo run today, as an example. Now the new thing which you might have not noticed was that just recently, early January, we published also possibility for AI Coach to produce interval sessions. So if you do a 45-minute run, that 45-minute run is not anymore just hard tempo run, for example, but it can have intervals like 10 times 2 minutes with 30-second recovery. So truly following what would be the best way to do those hard sessions. So interval workouts are defined by the AI, and then they are pushed into the watches as a step-by-step guidance what to do. Now, when we talk about intervals, to highlight additional to the AI topic, which of course definitely will be also in the future one of the big areas for us to look at. But for intervals, it's just to highlight that we also worked quite heavily during the last year to make the interval experience a bit better. So, for example, nowadays when you do a mobile app manually, you set up the interval session for today. The workout in the watch is behaving in nicer manner. So it have interval reps and sets. It have alarms when you are out of target, if you're using target setting for heart rate, pace, and power. But also when you are about to start the interval, it will have a alert like beep beep beep, and now you need to go. So guiding better how the intervals actually are executed. In the same time, we need to remember that the different ways of doing intervals in the watches are not just limited on the coach providing intervals or you do intervals in the mobile application. I think we have currently like 7-8 different types of doing intervals. One is for sure, which is very, very common, is that you do actually interval planning within the watch itself. So you can set up like 5 times 1 kilometer with the 1 minute recovery kind of set. So ad hoc, just before you are running or cycling, you can basically set these interval sessions quite rapidly. And then of course we have quite many different kind of interval workout, interval support as in SuuntoPlus apps, for example. So here I'm showing on a mobile application send-off. For swimming, if you're using send-offs, it basically means that you want to do a 100-meter repetitions with a 2-minute send-off. So it means that you do 145, 100 meters, you can rest 15 seconds, and the watch will always count that, okay, how much time you still have left. So send-off type of interval sessions are possible with that for swimming. We have also manual intervals. For example, if you do a hill repeats, you can easily manage the whole interval. You don't know what's the distance of the hill, you don't know how long it will take, but you manually can control when you start and stop the interval and then see the result of the interval immediately. So there's manual interval for hill repeats for cycling and then just running in flat terrain. So different kind of settings that you can use there. And then obviously there's also sprint detection for pace and power. So let's say that you do a long ride, 3 hours, and you want to identify every time that your power is, let's say, above 300 watts when you do sprints every 15 minutes. Without pressing a button, you can use the SuuntoPlus that actually detects those sprints and basically records them for you. So you can also use that in after analysis. So quite many different ways of managing those interval training. So AI Coach will produce them. You can manually plan them ad hoc on the watch. You can plan them on the mobile app previously. You can use hill repeats, manual intervals. You can use send-off. You can use automatic sprint detection. And then, of course, not forgetting, you can use several different other external applications to use intervals with Suunto. So it might be that you use Training Peaks or Final Search or Humango or AI Endurance or Intervals ICU. Several different tools can be basically used to produce the plan in the watches, and then of course the interval structure. Now that was perhaps too much about intervals. Let's go to the next one, comparing the workouts. So you might have noticed that we have enhanced the way of how you compare workouts in a mobile app afterwards. So in order for you to see, am I progressing? Many times it's very difficult to notice that how am I getting 5 seconds faster or 10 seconds faster in a running session, for example. But the great way is that, let's say that you do your long runs in the same place every Sunday. Well, now you are able to compare, are you getting faster on that same route? obviously if you are doing the same intensity. So what you see on the screen is an example where the guy has been doing the same path, and then they can compare the previous workouts and the current one, seeing at the same time, am I doing the pretty much like same heart rate? I'm actually getting faster now. So obviously the comparison makes sense when the workout is the same course and in the same intensity. So then you can see what kind of difference you have been able to make. So comparing the workouts is something that you probably have already been using. But if you haven't, just check it out. When you open a workout, if they are in the same path and the previous workouts, you can actually start doing this kind of comparison. Now, when it comes to the recovery, we have had long time many different ways of following the recovery state, what impacts recovery. We were one of the first companies to produce a possibility for you to track how do you feel about training. So of course this has been decades the key question that coach will ask from athlete, that okay, how did you feel? So it was an easy run, but were you feeling terrible? If you are on a hard run, was it easy? So what is the feeling throughout the workout? It's very important to understand potential changes in your recovery state. Then obviously we are measuring the sleep data, sleep duration, start of the sleep time, which is essential because sleep is of course the key aspect on how to enhance recovery. So we need to ensure that your sleep pattern, your sleep duration does not decline. So following sleep is of course essential part of the recovery metrics. From the training point of view, the essential metric has been training stress balance. So what's the difference between long-term load and short-term load? So you are able to see the training stress balance as a recovery aspect. Am I ready to train more? And then, of course, during night time, we are measuring heart rate variability. So in practice, is there a difference between the variability, so meaning more variability, more recovered you are? Has that been changing recently compared to your long-term overall range? So basically, based on your own personal physiology, has there been a change, and then illustrating that. Now, in order to make this even easier, we launched last year a recovery state metrics, which is basically something that you can follow on the watch, and also in a mobile app you can see long-term trends. All the things that I just mentioned is part of the recovery state. There's also a specific impact on, for example, training sessions for today and to yesterday and to overall week. All in all, the point being, you have one number that tries to summarize every aspect about recovery. So it's easier for you to understand, okay, where am I right now? So if it's a 50%, something might be a bit wrong. So what's something that I can actually change? Obviously, when you run a marathon today, the recovery state will be declined. So it's easy to understand what's potential problem there. But the recovery state came up now. I think it was last summertime. So now you can see it on the mobile app in every product supported, and then of course the latest product have been updated, has it also in the watches. Now, when we go forward on other area on sports specificity, this means features that we are trying to build to be as good as possible for that sport that is important for you. So training and physiology is more about your physiology. Sports specificity is that, okay, I play tennis, is there tennis features in the product? And there's of course quite many things that happened last year. First of all, we added new sports. Quite simple thing, but it's have to highlight that this is one of the biggest additions that Suunto has done in recent years. So about 15 years ago, when we introduced movescount.com, which was our first sports community website, I think we had like 70 sports, and then we started adding them gradually, step by step. But now last spring we added 30 new sports. The 30 new sport included like e-bike, wheelchair, biathlon. We split it cross-country skiing to skate and classic skiing, and cyclocross, gravel cycling, and so on. Track running, vertical running. So quite many different sports. Based on the user, your feedback, these were added to whole system. Then of course the sport modes were also modified to provide better guidance on these sports. So if you are wondering what the sport modes are, well, if you go and ride bike without power or with power, the sport mode with power has different features, different kind of capabilities than the sport mode that is without the power. So sport mode is for Suunto way to provide best possible set of features for that particular use case. Playing tennis indoors, playing tennis outdoors, different functionality on the mode. Now, when it comes to the enriching the sports, we also added tens of new values in our after analysis. So nowadays we have about 150 different statistics that you can find on Suunto based on what the workout has been measuring. Of course, this depends which sports you do. So if you do diving, it's a bit different data than when you are cycling or when you are skiing or swimming. All in all, we enrich the data. We calculate that when we get it on the mobile app, and then you, for example, now you can see the peak power numbers or peak pace numbers. So what was my maximum 1 minute power or 1 minute pace, as an example, vertical peak space. So you are a trail runner, so you want to understand, okay, how fast actually I was able to run in a best possible vertical speed in 5 minutes, as an example. So these are there in a mobile application under the workout, and perhaps you noticed that just recently we also modified the layout so that you are able to see this in grouping. So basically you see a summary on the workout, and then when you click you get the grouping of different data sets. So that was a big step on after analysis point of view. And of course, when we talk about sport modes, which I mentioned earlier, we also added quite many new fields what you can basically add into the sport mode. So about 40 different new fields. This is of course can be found when you are creating new custom sport mode. You can find all the new values there under the sport mode customization on the displays. The list what you see on the PowerPoint here is the white ones are the ones that were added earlier this year, and the red ones were actually added just recently. So for example, vertical oscillation or ground contact time for running is an example of new fields that are available for the latest products. But for example, normalized graded pace was late addition for our products. Even we have had that earlier with the SuuntoPlus app, and also we have used that in after analysis, but now you can also add it as a custom field. On top of different topics like previous lap duration, ZoneSense values, like moving time, total time, rest time. We provide fields from forecasted weather. So if you have the latest watches, you know that there's a weather forecasted data on the watch. So if you want to see that on the fly, you can also add it on the custom mode as an example. So quite many things for you to enjoy. And then we added a almost like one new partner every week. So we have somewhere around 500 to 1,000 companies connected to our ecosystem. It depends a bit on how you calculate it, because many of these companies have only few customers, and then some of course have millions. But in practice you can argue that there's about 500 apps that you can actively use. You can find most of these apps from suunto.com/partners website or in Suunto mobile application. Not all. If you have some dedicated app that you want to use and it's not compatible with Suunto, I would argue it's good to contact the application provider and ask that would it be possible to connect with Suunto. We are open. We don't have limitations on who can connect with Suunto. So if you are yourself building a new digital application, please join Suunto family. Go to suunto.com, welcome partners, and join our program, and you can be part of this awesome list which is growing all the time. great innovation, great things happening, especially on startup companies having a nice things there. So different sports, different kind of approaches. AI for sure is now growing a ways to use sports data, and of course we need to remember all of these apps are used per your own interest, so you need to authorize to get your data in those apps. Suunto is not providing data anywhere automatically, so you need to engage and start connecting yourself if you want to use those apps, of course. Now with SuuntoPlus, we had 17 new SuuntoPlus apps last year, different kind of tools, peak pace, aquaswim, rugby referee apps, wheelchair, etc. So different apps for different use cases. Now the main story on the apps of course starts to be that now we have massive amount of applications for different purposes, as mentioned. Also Watchfaces, of course, not highlighting in this case. In this case I talk about those a bit later. But it's also a question that, okay, what is for this particular sport interesting? And I use now example biathlon. So we added biathlon as a sport this year, 2025, last spring. And at the same time we published a biathlon SuuntoPlus app. So in principle, I believe that we are probably the only company who is providing biathlon specific features on wearables. So not 100% sure, of course. But this feature is in principle, you do a biathlon race, so you ski or shoot, we automatically recognize when you are shooting, when you are skiing, when you are shooting, so you don't need to press any buttons. We do a lap marking automatically, we give you a summary, how much time you spent shooting, how much you were spent skiing. So it's there's no time in biathlon races to start pushing the buttons. So this is a good example of the role of SuuntoPlus apps as well. We can provide a dedicated feature for exactly that certain use case where the feature functionality is not just that what we show, but how it actually works, how it functions, what the data is being stored, what kind of lap markers are created, is there some settings and so on. So the apps are part of sport mode. They just enrich them in some cases quite a lot. Now, as SuuntoPlus has been one key way for Suunto to grow a feature set, essential thing was happened that in Race 2 Vertical 2 we now added possibility to run 3 apps at the same time. So you can now, for example, have a Strava segment and core body temperature and use same time running drills guide. So 3 apps at the same time. So you have the sport mode which has their own display, and then you can have 3 different additional apps there as well. So that's a great thing, but only for Race 2 Vertical 2, so no other products are supporting more than 2 apps. Now this app what I'm showing here is a parkrun app, and what is special on this, that this is not actually implemented by Suunto. So we have produced a possibility for companies for quite some time to actually build these sport apps. So different kind of device connected apps especially have been done by these companies. So I mentioned core body temperature sensor just a second ago, Engor smart glasses, Shimano equipment, Moxi sensor, Train Red sensor. All of these are examples of a external partner company connected with Suunto by using SuuntoPlus. This parkrun has been implemented by individual Suunto fan. So we have now started providing during the last year step by step a possibility for individual Suunto fans to create SuuntoPlus apps. The parkrun is being used as a QR code in the watch when you go in the parkrun event to register at the site that okay, I have been registered. You just show the parkrun QR code for the organization, and off you go. You are in the race. Same kind of case is live tracking that was published last summer. This again done by a fan of Suunto, not by Suunto. So this is a live tracking app where you have a SuuntoPlus app on the watch. It's connected to a dedicated mobile application which shares the live location of the user to the website. So you download the SuuntoPlus on the watch, you download the mobile application on your phone, you connect these, and you can share your friends where you are right now. Now, why I'm talking about this is that we are now opening the gates from Suunto. So pretty soon you will hear more about this, where we will publicly provide anybody who wants to create SuuntoPlus apps tools to do that, and then if you have interest to share those apps to other people, to have them in SuuntoPlus store, that will be then also possible. So more about this later, but just for you to know, this is now a direction where we are able to hopefully provide you new innovation, more rapid manner, and not just in a sense limited what Suunto can do. Of course, we try to do ourselves as much as possible. Now, I went through a lot of different things, what we do, what we have been launched, but in order for you to better get a grip on certain sports, I still want to illustrate, for example, what happened in running. So for runners, I also already mentioned that we added track running and vertical running as a sport, but also there was one specific feature for track running, which of course for the athletes who are running on a track is very important, which was a track running functionality to have a precise measurement, pace and distance while you are running a track. So basically you can now select what kind of track you are doing, which lane, and what is the distance if you do some custom custom track distance. So of course this is mainly for accuracy, so you can get the accurate picture of how fast you are running, which is important when you do those 400-meter repeats. Additionally, we added a ground contact and vertical oscillations running technique values on sport modes with the latest watches, and then need to remember to say various running specific apps have also been now added for the runners. For running, just a small reminder, of course there are a lot of running specific features, especially on the SuuntoPlus, so cadence coach, peak pace, Cooper test, anaerobic test, half marathon estimators, etc. So quite many apps that for that particular reason, if you do, for example, vertical race, you are going to race 1 kilometer uphill, check it out, we have vertical race app. Or if you do a backyard ultra, we have backyard ultra specific app. So all those crazy guys who are going to run next 24 hours, there's an app for you. Then in swimming, I mentioned send-off already. I haven't talked about the headsets too much, but have to highlight that we have in swimming now a swimming compatible headset, so you can listen to music while you are swimming. Now focusing more on the features on other offering. Swim drills was one of those new apps that we produced, and then swim sections for open water swimming. So you can, when you are swimming from point to point, it automatically marks those laps. And then also in swimming we got a few new apps that you can use Suunto Watch while training for swimming session. For multisporters, just to keynote here is that if you are wondering what are in the background, you might notice this place. I have been racing in that location a couple times myself. If you know the place, please leave a comment in YouTube section if you notice. I give a hint, it starts with K, left ends at A. Anyway, for multisporters, so the essential thing what we added last year was you are able now customize your multisport modes yourself. So in previous, if you did, for example, triathlon, you weren't able to modify what fields will you see during cycling, as an example, or if you do some other multisport modes. Now you can. So you basically select the modes that you have in a combination that you want, and there you go. There's a multisport mode. Then for a couple great additions for triathlon. Now we have automatic triathlon transition. So if you are doing a hectic race, you don't have time to press the buttons, this will automatically recognize when you come out of the water, are you in transition, when you go by cycling transition, and then to run. You can then add or remove the transition if you want. but also we did same for swimrun. Now swimrun, if you have been trying that out, it's running, swimming, running, swimming, running, swimming in nature. There is no time to press any buttons. So now with swimrun has also this automatic transition. We recognize when you are swimming, when you are running, and automatically change the sport accordingly. And of course, with swimrun, it's pretty difficult to start customizing sport mode with X amount of times of running and swimming. So we have a support for repetition. So basically you can now, for example, select a running and swimming and then repeat as many times. So those are great additions for multisporters, truly ensuring that all the endurance guys who want to be good at not just in one sport but many, now you guys have support for Suunto. On cycling side, the key aspect was definitely those new fields that we were adding, just mentioned earlier, but we also provide a for example, in cyclocross specific application. So cyclocross races are done in environment which is a loop. So we can now get automatic loop statistics for the cyclocross race. So no need to press again buttons, but you can follow which is the fastest loop and did you do a record loop in this case and so on. And of course, as mentioned earlier, we also added those new sports like e-bike as an example. Now, one interesting aspect is the heat maps. So we added a new type of heat map for cycling. We actually update all the heat maps last year. So Suunto has been in forefront of making heat maps. So basically using a GPS data to create understanding what are the most popular places as a heat on the map. But now we did a new type of heat map. So this is a New York, this is a Manhattan, and this is where people have been using Suunto watches to ride their bike. However, if you would like to do some training session in Manhattan, not probably something that you would really look for, but if you want to ride a bike in Manhattan, it's a bit difficult to see what would be the best place to do that. So we created a new type of heat map. You can find it now in Suunto mobile application, which is a filtering the data based on speed and distance. So we are using the workout distance and the workout average speed to find out where are the guys who are doing training sessions with bike, where they are riding. And now you suddenly see in Manhattan all the streets are vanishing and only the Central Park and the side of the Manhattan is actually illustrated. So now you can find, if you are in a new place where you have never been, you can truly find a place where to ride your bike. So that was a new addition on our heat map family. Of course, I have to highlight again that there's several different cycling apps that you guys can use: Power Zones, Shimano compatibility, automatic sprint detection, as mentioned earlier. Now, sorry, that was mistake. That for hikers, we have been looking at also enhancing the heat map data for hiking data. You can actually see the in background, and then several apps which we have for weather forecast, for safe, for climbs has been enhanced. So that's a start to be a good set for hikers as well. So was going to already do the gym section. So in gym we have added a few new gym specific apps. Just simple stopwatch, Tapata Trainer was already there earlier, but also different tools to follow a specific set of movements. So for example, if you are doing calisthenics, you can now set up in Suunto which calisthenic exercises you want to do in this session. Additionally, TrainRed was live. Actually, TrainRed was already 2024, so that's a bit of mistake there, but also several new apps connected with Suunto. Now, these are a bit older ones, but I just want to highlight we have apps for soccer player, we have apps for tennis, we have for badminton. So again, trying to support specific sport. I'm not going to go through them all, but please watch this space. Now when we start to open the SuuntoPlus development, the belief is that many of the particular apps for certain sports will be available. One key thing what happened last year was also that we revamped our sensor compatibility. So currently, when you are connecting to sensors, we are using so-called service mode. So basically, any sensor that is producing data as a service, which we are compatible with, you can now pair. Of course, we are using only BLE for connection. So you can pair a power sensors, speed sensors, pace sensors, cadence sensors, heart rate sensors in the same way. At the same time, when we did this, we also enhanced these kind of things that can you see the battery life of the sensor, for example, and how sensors automatically connected. Previously, we had an issue, for example, that you might have two bikes with the power sensors that you had to always go to pairing to change the sensor. Now you don't. So you just start your ride and the sport mode will connect to the sensor that you have been using before. So you can have several power sensors connected to your watch and everything works automatically. So that was definitely more about perhaps user experience than creating additional features, but something that you guys have been asking quite a lot. Now, outdoor navigation. We all love outdoors, we do sports outdoors, so we have also enhancing quite a bit of things that happen in outdoors. I already talked about the heat maps, but also one addition was that we added a specific map style for winter. So now I'm here illustrating, for example, local map for skiing, which shows also the heat map for the cross-country skiing. But also you can see on map different kind of skiing tracks. So you can now, when going to Suunto app, selecting the winter map, you can start to see what ski tracks, downhill ski tracks there are. This illustrates, of course, the three-dimensional views that you can illustrate which side of the mountain the tracks are going. So that's a something that we now added, and of course same is in the watch. Also, this three-dimensional picture is used for video sharing. So now here you see a video clip that you can actually create now from the mobile application. So it has a small amount of music and then the three-dimensional video that you can actually create to illustrate where you are going. So maps, 3D, quite nice things. Climb guidance we produced or published in 2024. Which was basically when you have a route, let's illustrate each climb, flat, descent, what is the grade of the climb in nice manner on the mobile app, and when you are then running or whatever you do outside, you can actually follow the same information on the watch. The key update was now in late last year that we added a different zoom model there. So if you, for example, are planning a race and you mark those waypoints to the race course, now you can zoom based on how many waypoints you want to see at the same time. So in practice, if you are doing a race and you want to follow the next 5 kilometer section for the next waypoint, you can actually see that section and where you are at that section. So this is truly built from that perspective that you have a certain splits that you want to follow during the session easily. So the zoom level is based on how many waypoints there are. So this is something that you might have already been testing sometime. So again, something that we are also looking at enhancing in the future. In navigation, I illustrate one feature called Quick Start Navigation, where the idea is that when you use in Suunto app, for example, here I select location. I'm here in Vantaa now on Suunto office, and then I select I want to go to Helsinki. It creates me a route. Once I have done this, I can select Start, and what happens to the watch is that watch asks, do you want to navigate this? So you don't need to save the route first, synchronize the watch, then select the route on the watch and then go for it. But with quick start, you just go in the Suunto app, you pick a point, you get the route, and you then say start, and the watch will behave accordingly. So if you are in normal watch mode, it will then also ask that you want to start the workout tracking or just navigation. So it can be also used to start the workout easily. So you are also saving all the data with you. So quick start navigation, play around, go to Suunto app, go to the map, click a location, start, and you see what happens on the watch afterwards. So that's a pretty cool thing when you are ad hoc somewhere and you want to find a new place. Now, late last autumn, we also published a new site called Routeplanner.suunto.com. So this is a website which anybody can access. No need to use Suunto Watch, no need to have a Suunto mobile application. You guys just can go there and try it out. It basically uses the same heat map data that we have. You have there a possibility to do the planning. You can see here I'm in Mallorca, and I'm there selecting a running heat map, so you can see where all the trails, where to go in three-dimensional picture. And then I'm changing to triathlon. Now I can see the local triathlon races, where the race courses are going. And then now when I want to start looking at swimming heat map, I can see it on the same place. Okay, what are the best beaches where to go? And then obviously when you want to do a planning yourself, I'm here in I think that's a Puerto Pollensa. Then I start creating a track. I can see the altitude graph. I can easily draw where to go in a big screen, so it's a bit more clearer. And then once I have been doing that, I can also then save this as a GPX file or connect that to my account and push that into Suunto app. And then of course use Suunto watches. So this is something that people have been asking in order to get the big screen, using the big screen with Suunto, where we need to remember to say that of course you can also use the Suunto application, for example in iPad, in tablet, so with a big screen, but with the website now possibility with routeplanner.suunto.com. Check it out. And then a bit about user experience. So of course user experience has been always some of the key things what Suunto has been doing. We have all the features that we are trying to do. Of course, we try to do as smooth as possible. Some of the highlights on topics that I didn't mention earlier is of course now the Watchfaces. So we want to make sure that your Suunto watch in your wrist is something that you are proud to use every day. So nowadays we have somewhere around 70-80 watch faces that you can select, and of course we need to remember you can customize these watch faces also on the device itself with different detailed values and so on. We basically produced last year a couple of watch faces every month, so hopefully everybody has the watch face that they want to use. One additional thing for this kind of daily usage was the morning report. So when you are waking up, you also get a report of what has been happening. So quite long list of different data. Now finishing here for the heart rate variability stats. On the big changes, what happened last year was, however, in mobile application. So we did a complete ramp up of how the mobile app works. So nowadays here the first view illustrates this kind of dashboard, which is now truly customizable with different kind of widgets, and then in the same time you have a activity feed where you can see the latest workouts from yourself or the people you are following. The dashboard widgets, when you are customizing this, you are in charge of what's interesting for you. So this is completely new. This is of course many of the features we have had before, but user experience has been now completely revamped for the first view. And then When you look at those widgets, we also added sub-pages for each widget. So here illustrating the heart rate variable sleep widgets. So the small ones on the corner are the ones that you see on the dashboard. And then when you select, you can actually see deeper dive in longer duration, so longer term, with explanation what these things actually mean. So hopefully this gives you quick access to dive deeper on those data that you are more interested of. Then on training and physiology, we had this training zone center in Suunto application. It was launched a couple of years ago. It was at the time when we launched, had a one long page of different topics, and then there were some sub pages for other areas like daily activity. Now we modified this so that this follows training, progress, recovery, daily health kind of behavior, and you remember the training model for Suunto. So now for training you get all the training impacts, the training load, the zone durations, the training index distribution, the coaching texts are now embedded as part of different elements. As for example in progress we also added the VO2 max values and the running metrics there, the central piece being the CTL TSP graphs. And in recovery, same way, you can now find all the key metrics like sleep, feeling, and so on. All these have a similar kind of time selection, so you can find weeks, 6 months, whatever is the most interesting for you. So the user experience should be quite smooth. So just pick the thing that you are interested of, select the time range, and you should get your data quite easily as you wish. Additionally, we added also some amount of updates on your profile page, and new thing was these patches. Now lately the anniversary patches, since Suunto is now 90 years old, if you haven't recognized that. So quite old startup company, if you may. So your patches are there based on what you have done recently, and so you can see that have I done 1,000 kilometers running or what. Additionally, we have also added a new ways of sharing your information. I already illustrated earlier the three-dimensional map view sharing, but this is the annual data, so especially interesting for when you are sharing at the end of the year, or then of course a single month, but end of the year, the whole year, how many workouts you have done. So these kind of new summary sharing possibilities have been added there just lately. Last but not least here, I have been talking now mainly about new features, different aspects of features, different areas. In the same time, we have of course working on quality. So you might have noticed that optical heart rate quality has been improved quite a lot. We have changed how the altitude calculation is behaving. We have changed how the open water swimming accuracy can be done. We have modified how the synchronization between the watch and mobile app is enhanced. User interface speed on the watches has been changed quite a bit, and GPS accuracy is all the time something that we have been working on. Countless of other quality topics that we are working on. The quality is still today one of the essential pieces of Suunto, and we are focusing on getting all those issues honed out as we go forward as well. So all the feedbacks that we get, we listen, we look at, we read the forums, we ask feedbacks from you, from all our testers, to understand what needs to be better. So we are working on quality as well. Now that was pretty much 2025. That was our wrap up. I hope there was something new that you didn't know before, something interesting, something that you have been testing yourself and you are hopefully happy about. I believe 26 will be even more exciting. We have plenty of things in our plans. This spring will be exciting time. So I hope you will also enjoy the next things that we will come up, and most probably we will start to do these wrap-ups even bit more regularly than not just once in a year. Thank you for your time, and I hope I will see you soon next again. Thank you. Bye bye.